How y'all doing today, folks? Now, apparently, the community done stepping some shit again, so I'm gonna weigh in on it. I've been requested pretty heavily to do this video. My cat is also freaking the fuck out, so I'm gonna do a little photo bomb. This is my kitty. He hates being picked up, but he keeps hopping on the couch, climbing on the back of my neck, and everything else. So, if in case you just see me start screaming because I'm getting clawed, that's why. But we're gonna try to talk about this whole thing, right? So first and foremost, I made two different comments online. I had said that this is all pretty common knowledge, man. And I want to take a moment to clarify that because I really dug into the actual Strider groups, into the actual trying to figure out where all this came from and how I knew about this. And I can't remember where I heard it. I don't have any insider information in regards to like Strider's productions or anything like that. I'm not in with that group by any means. I really like some Strider knives. Today's carry is the SMF. Super customized, like really badass knife. I love this thing. I've had it for years. Very big fan of their designs. But as far as like knowing the man himself, I've met the guy at shows, but like we're not friends, we're not cool. So I don't really know where I heard that. But when I first heard that, Strider, or I saw the comments, right, where like, oh, Tor's making Strider knives. I was like, yeah, I know that. So I don't remember where I heard that from. I said it's common knowledge. I'm pretty sure it's not common knowledge. So to clarify that, because I can't find shit about it online. Beyond all that, my comment was, why do you even care? So someone found a brand that makes them happy and that they feel a kinship with. Just let them do what makes them happy. This needlessly confrontational and division-based mentality by all parties is just dumb. So I'm going to weigh in on both sides, but I want to be very, very clear. That is my stance. If someone doesn't care, right? Okay, let's say if you found all this about Strider and now you hate the brand, you feel like you've been betrayed and everything else. Okay, you're entitled to that opinion 100%. That's not what I'm here to debate. For me, though, if you know about all this or you just found out about it, it doesn't matter to you. You still love the brand, you still love the knives, and you just want to support a maker who you happen to be passionate about. Why is that grounds for a whole bunch of internet hate? Because there's like a flame war going on between Strider guys and not Strider guys. And I'm like, dude, why do you care? If someone likes that knife still, if they like that company still, despite what you consider to be an issue, why do you care? To be honest with you all, like I fell into the same trap about a year and a half ago where I was just constantly surrounded by the negativity in the community. And so I was like reporting on stuff and everything else. And it started off me just trying to get to the bottom of things. But not long after that, it did basically become a flame war. And I took part in that and I 100% own it. It's actually one of the large reasons why I just distanced myself from the community and took off for a year to go travel and get my head straight. And having my head straight now, I really don't understand where the problem is. Again, if you personally do not like Strider knives because you feel like they were dishonest or whatever the case may be, that's fine. But why does somebody else still loving and having a kinship with that brand upset you? It's just ridiculous to me. So I'm going to go from what I think one standpoint is and then go about the other one. But to be very, very clear, my standpoint is that why the fuck do you care? Like, we're supposed to be a community, so let's act like it. It's two different sides, right? But there's no reason to have that division and that hate between both sides. Carry what you carry, love what you love. Freedom of choice, man. There's nothing wrong with like us having differences of opinion. The problem is that when it becomes this little flame war and this back and forth. So in regards to going against Strider knives, first off, Again, I looked pretty heavily trying to find where they announced that Tor is now making Strider knives, and I can't find anything. Now, I don't know if it was deleted. I don't know if I just heard that in some passing thing and I just twisted my brain to make a thing that's common knowledge. I don't know because I literally cannot find anything. So, from a standpoint of someone that is a fan of Strider knives and that I heard that for the first time, honestly, I didn't care that much because, first and foremost, Strider has not been made in house for a long time. They've always outsourced. Not always, but they've been outsourcing for a long time. So I was like, okay, well, at least it's still a USA made company. If they were like, oh, we outsource now to we, I'd be like, man, I want that USA made company. I have nothing personally against, Chinese knives or anything like that. I personally want to support the home team because I'm in the USA. I'm an American citizen. I was born here, so I like to support where I come from. I still own some Chinese knives. Also own Russian knives, German knives, Czechoslovakian knives. I have a really good friend of mine from Brazil. It's a knife maker, and I own a bunch of his kitchen knives. Like, I own knives from across the actual world, but first and foremost, I would like to support the home team, just as I'm sure people in China, Russia, Brazil, everything else, they prefer to buy things that are actually manufactured within their borders to support their countrymen. So the fact that Strider is still being made in the USA, in San Diego, by Tor, which is also a proud USA military owned company, I don't see it as being a problem. Where the problem does lie, though, is that they weren't transparent about that. And that is where I kind of understand some of like the discourse and everything else. Because again, I looked pretty hard and I could not find anything about them doing the whole tour thing. I don't know where I heard that. I really, really don't, which actually bothers me tremendously. So I understand that standpoint. I also understand that the tour folders, I guess they've gotten better, but I had the Chasm, whatever you want to call it, and two other ones, and they all had a lot of problems. One of them I literally bought for $100 on the secondary market, so I wasn't even that mad. I was like, you know what, whatever, it's a loss, is what it is. The other two I bought direct from Tor, and I had to send them both back to get fixed. And then when they were fixed, they still had problems. So I was like, okay, I'm just not going to buy Tor folders anymore. Their fixed blades, on the other hand, are fucking incredible. The Field 1.0 in particular, can't talk. The Field 1.0 in particular is one of my favorite fixed blades of all time. I love that knife. I also have the Cryptia, forgot what the Cranbit's called. Like, not Kama Sutra. I almost like Kama Sutra. Whatever. It's like a carbon fiber handle and it has like a little blade that hooks over. I have the Camp Axe. I have the throwing tomahawk, the Tommy, which I love that thing to death. I'll probably be doing a long-term hard use review of that because I've been throwing that thing for years, and it's the only tomahawk that I've been throwing for that long. That one, I've somehow never managed to dull, which is ridiculous because you throw a tomahawk and eventually you hit a rock or something hard or you miss the target and you smack into something. I've done that plenty of times with that tomahawk, but it's still lightning sharp. Doesn't make any sense. Razor sharp. So that's a great piece. For me, though, their folders are very much a miss. And again, I guess they've gotten a lot better. So maybe that's not an issue anymore. But previously, it definitely was. So that would be the side to where I'm like, I don't know about that one. But as long as they're holding that quality standard of what Strider has been known for a long time, which, let's be honest here, their quality is kind of hit and miss. I have knives from Strider that I absolutely love that came to me perfect. I have some that have lock rock, lock stick. Some have lock failure. To be fair, you can always send those knives in and they will 100% fix them free of charge and then send them back to you really, really quickly. And those things are actually hand tuned by Strider and his team. So that's a whole different story, right? I've never had a knife come messed up I didn't eventually love because they fixed it. But they do definitely have some QC issues that we have to be aware of. You know, I'm a big fan of the brand, but I'm not going to lie to you either. Like, they have some problems. So I sort of understand that whole thing. But like, for me, it's like, why is there so much division in regards to that? Like, yes, I understand your point of view. Maybe you feel like they were being dishonest with you. And to be fair, lying by omission is still lying. So, in technically speaking, they were. But like, I don't feel the need to hate someone for that. I'm like, okay, that could have been done better. But I'm also a businessman. I understand some of the logistics of all that whole thing. And sometimes, honestly, you just space out on shit. I do that all the time. I'm not trying to be dishonest. I'm just like, oh, I forgot to ever mention that. My bad. You know, I own that. Sorry about that. Is that what's going on? I don't know. I really and truly don't. So don't quote me on that going, oh, they just had a slip of the tongue or they just messed up a little bit, but it's fine. They meant well. I don't know. This could be malicious as fuck for all I know. But regardless, I think the flame war online is a little intense. Now, on the other hand, let's speak about all the issues people talk about with Strider. First and foremost, this is an old issue. It's been addressed a long time ago, but the stolen valor thing. First off, I am not a soldier. So if people that have actually fought, bled, and died for our country, if they forgive this man, who the fuck am I as a civilian to sit there and be like, well, you know, you better pay up for that even still? I don't have a stake in that. You know, I love my country, but I did not sign up for the military. I did not go overseas to fight. And as such, I do not have a say in this whole thing. So, morally speaking, what happened, I think, is shady. But if our servicemen have forgiven him, then who are we, and especially who am I to judge that? For me, he just donates a lot of products to our military men, which I really, really appreciate. I have friends overseas that are fighting right now that carry his knives because they got them free of charge or for heavy, and I mean heavy discounts. That's fantastic. Another thing, as I addressed previously, is the whole like QC issue. Yes, Strider very much has quality control problems. In my experience, they always have. The custom knives are fucking incredible. I've owned three, I want to say four, but I actually fell through on that one. I've owned three total, two direct from Mick, and then the other one I bought secondary market. And those knives are all perfect. There wasn't a singular flaw or issue. The fit and finishing, everything was incredible. Now, production wise, both the Monkey Edge fragged versions and all the different versions over the years, yeah, they've been either really good, really bad, and occasionally just eh. But for the bad, again, I've had lock slip, I've had lock failure, I've had supreme fucking lock stick to where I'm like fucking two fingers or two hands just prying it to open it up. That feels janky. I've had really bad grinds. We're talking almost like a chisel grind when it's not supposed to be a chisel grind. Just one end was sharpened really well, and the other was sharpened just straight down. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, that's not right. Unless it's the properly sharpened Strider. You can see right there, this has also been used pretty freaking heavily. Cat's back. I'm not sure if you can see him or not, but you're fine. No? He's like, I'm not sure about you. You hold a knife. But I've had really, really wonky grinds. I've had some genuine problems. But for me, QC is something that's always going to be an issue whenever you're dealing with thousands of products. So, again, as a businessman, I kind of understand. I don't like it. I hate when I win the lottery and I end up getting a bad one. Because most of these knives are great, to be fair. I have a saying, if I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. Like, bad shit happens to me all the fucking time. So when I get something that's bad, I'm like, well, why am I not surprised? But most people don't have these problems with Strider. I've just gotten kind of a shit luck so far. And it's funny too, because I messaged Strider before. I'm like, hey man, I got another one. He's like, really? How does this always happen to you? He's like, I don't know. All right. I don't know, but I'm sending it back to you. You can see they've not modified it or fucked with it or anything like that. It just came to me this way. Sorry. And they're always cool about it and they fix it off and send it back and there's not a problem. So I really appreciate their customer service. QC issues, yes, they suck, but most importantly, they fix them. They honor their product and they warranty it without any issue. This is also coming from a guy that's had to warranty quite a few knives to the point where it probably looks bad, and they still take care of me. So for that, I love Strider. I also just love their designs. As you guys know, I have size 2XL hands. This big ass knife, which is tremendously giant to most people, it barely fits my hands, but it fits it so fucking well. And yeah, I could go a little higher up and have some sticking off the edge right there. But for me, being able to just hold a knife this nice relaxed fit means there's no hot spots. If I get really kind of cramped in on one side or the other, for me, it's uncomfortable. So this kind of holding right here just feels incredible. I love the designs. I've met the man himself, and he's super, super nice. Which is kind of funny, right? Because originally, the first Strider knife I ever actually saw literally had "fuck off" flame anodized into the scales. And I was like, oh, we're just this type of extra? A Strider knives because fuck off. I was like, okay, well, fuck you. I became a fan of Strider knives because I happened to be walking around one of the shows. And without even being aware of who he was, I had a conversation with Mick. And I was like, this dude's fucking great. And he started talking about Striders. And I was like, I don't know about all of that. And he was like, wait, what? I didn't know who he was. And we had this thing where we're like, okay, well, let's educate each other. I told him my standpoint, which he thought was hilarious, and just kind of laughed about it. It's like, people, it's the industry is just very confrontational orientated. So, for me, it's just like, hey, if you like this, cool. If you don't, leave me the fuck alone and fuck off. We can be friends or not. It doesn't matter to me. This is something that's kind of echoed in the community. And the way he described it, and to be clear, I'm not doing justice at all. It made sense. Like, okay, yeah, I kind of want to say fuck off sometimes too. So, I get it. But I immediately liked the guy. I bought a knife from him that day, and I've been a fan ever since. So I understand where kind of the hate comes from. I also really understand where a lot of the love comes from because he's a good fucking dude. And I think we all need to take a second to understand both sides and to meet in the middle as a community and collectively calm the fuck down. Because this needlessly confrontational, negative nonsense, it doesn't help things. Could things have been done better? Absolutely. I am not disputing that whatsoever. However, I have heard of this man being called a liar, being called a thief, being told that he outsources to China, which is factually inaccurate. He outsources to Tor, which is a USA-made company. So where China gets involved, I have no fucking idea. On the actual thumbnail, I'm going to put like all of these different things that I've heard about Strider. And it's not clickbait because this is all stuff that I've heard over the years, and a lot of it I've heard in the last couple of days, and it just needs to be addressed because, yeah, there's history there. And a lot of it is negative. But here's the thing, and the beauty about the world and us as humans is that we can all change. We all make mistakes. We all have problems. We all do stupid shit every now and again. And you watch and he goes, no, I'm a saint. Bullshit. I guarantee you've made mistakes in your life. I guarantee you have fucked up. I guarantee you there's things you've done that you regretted immediately. And I am no exception to that. I've done this far more than most. I've done this a lot. But you take a step back, you take a deep breath, you reassess your situation, your life, and your path. and you make changes. And this man has made changes. And this whole thing, I think, is being massively blown out of proportion. Yes, I understand this side. I also understand this side. But one extreme or another, and being so defensive and confrontational, it doesn't really help the communication. It doesn't help this side understand. It also doesn't help this side understand. Again, we have to meet in the middle because we call ourselves a community. So let's actually live by that. Let's not just say it casually. Oh, we're community members. We love each other. Let's actually show it by being humble, by being nice, by trying to understand a point of view that is contrary to our own. You don't have to agree with it. But as far as being a community, you should at the very least attempt and endeavor to understand it. As always, folks, I love you all. Please take care, and bye-bye.